Hey, what up, faithful? It's your boy Ty here. Welcome to the Stay Faithful channel and this edition of Niners Coast to Coast. Joining me as always is my buddies Aaron, David, and Bryant. How you guys doing tonight?
It's kind of a interesting day. You know,
Mm-hmm.
a good
It
friend
is. It is.
passed away last night. Faithful Corey Davis, folks.
Yeah,
You know,
Corey was just a great guy. Always had a smile on his face. Loved the 49ers. And what I loved about him is he always loved talking with his fellow faithful about the 49ers, right? Always willing to chat.
oh yeah,
Bryant, David, you guys knew him best. You just say a few words about the guy that Corey was.
he was a great person. Former school teacher. A lot of people don't know that, but he was just a great guy. Always happy, cheerful. If something was happening, he needed to calm down. He wasn't afraid to step in. Infectious laugh. Was
Mhm.
I don't think there was any time he was streaming and could have me on that I missed. I never missed one because he's one of my favorite people.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. And David, you're gonna be keeping his pick'em stream going, correct?
I definitely am. It is going to be named the Corey Davis NFL Picks Show every Wednesday night, 7 p.m. PST on my channel.
All right,
And I
everybody.
actually got some work to do to get everyone's numbers and get everything to the point where it's accurate, but I'm not afraid of that.
I don't think I want to be the type of person who's going to be fake and say like me and Corey were close, like as far as how the way that he is with Bryant and David. But since I've had a channel, he was always in the audience
Mhm.
all the time, supportive of everybody all the time, no drama, positive, super chats, non super chat comments just coming through and representing. He always called me out anytime I came into his stream. So I have nothing negative to say other than he's gone too soon.
Mhm.
I really, really want the 49ers to win a Super Bowl this year, not only for him or myself as a fan, but for him because, he's no longer here. And I think that would have been the ultimate for him this year, especially with how good this team played yesterday. I think he would have been just be elated, but yeah, I never wanted to ever come out and be like, yeah, doing really well, and I'm gonna fake it and
Mhm.
be all, not real about it. But he was always supportive of me, 100%. So I have nothing but respect.
Indeed, indeed. Shout out to Corey. He will be missed in the community, and I know you guys will do your best to honor his memory and keep his legacy going. And we look forward to that, and we will be supporting. Okay, so we
Right?
got to get into it. In
Right?
January, well, Bryant, did you want to say something? I didn't want to. I know it's very somber for you, Bryant. I didn't want to put you on the spot. If you don't have to speak if you don't want to, man. I know this is hard.
Just you guys, the way I met Corey was a lot like how you guys met Corey. I started recognizing him in chats, and he became a really good friend of mine. Somebody that um, I ended up meeting in person. You don't get to meet everybody, and somebody that shows respect, gives everybody respect, holds himself in a demeanor that not demands respect, but deserves. You give somebody like Corey respect. There's no reason that you need to be mean to Corey. Oh, he's the fat guy, or he's the slow guy. No, you don't talk like that to Corey, because Corey would not give you a reason to talk to him like that or treat him like that. Sometimes, like, looking at somebody, is not first impressions. It's not. When you hear Corey talk, or you go from you have one conversation with Corey, you have a best friend. And I had one show. Somebody said something about Corey. I banned that guy from my chat, and I'm not going to have that. I'm not going to have somebody come on my channel and disrespect somebody. And I'm not going to do that. Who's somebody like Corey, who's my friend. I'm not going to do it. So I deleted the guy before Corey could read it. You guys didn't know, and you guys ever watch Corey channel, a Corey show? He can't read very well. He was losing eyesight, so it took him a little bit long time to read the chats, and sometimes he kept ones up that he should have kept up longer. So that's funny. Um, but no, Corey was very respectful to everybody. He always was around everybody's channel. Aaron, just to let you know, he was very honored every time he did come into his channel. You're one of the bigger streamers. He does always have fun coming into your show and listening to your channel. I mean, like, we meet so many people from somebody who has a channel like yours because you have a bigger platform. People meet, and then they just it's spiders off, right?
I
And
never knew that. That's crazy. That's awesome.
he always enjoyed it when you came on. He wanted to, stream with you. He wanted to stream with multiple people. Ty, he always same thing. He held so many people up at a certain, and maybe he held up people maybe higher than they should have been. But that's the type of person Corey was. Is he top notch. So I won't talk about him for too long because I'm probably going to do it again later on my show or with David on multiple other shows. I'll probably be talking about him for the rest of my life, and I don't have any regrets because I met somebody who means the world to me. So, thank you.
No, thank you, man. Thank you for sharing that. Like I said, I didn't want to put you on the spot. I know this is tough, so thank you for sharing. Truly. Segueing to the 49ers. Okay, in January, we all know what happened. And we all walked away from that game saying we were cheated. 49ers were cheated. That wasn't a true game by them. We don't know how that thing would have turned out, but we all felt confident that the 49ers would be victorious in Philadelphia during the NFC Championship game. Yesterday was the day to prove that. I just want to get your overall takes of the game yesterday. And do you feel that it would have been the same in January? So I'll just go around the horn. Aaron, you set it off. Overall thoughts of the game yesterday, and did it prove anything to you about January?
I was as nervous going into this game as a fan. You guys know I'm always a little more of a Debbie Downer, a little bit more of a negative. Not just a fan that's like I'm always thinking the worst. But I got really confident before the game started. I'm like, I just looking at things and I'm like, we're really kind of better than them. If you look at talent top to bottom, I just say like we're the better team, right? And it doesn't always translate on the field because of circumstances, weather, penalties, all that kind of stuff. And then the game started and it was kind of like, oh, here we go, same old stuff, right? And I was getting a little impatient with Brock. I'm like, does he need to put a glove on? Put a glove on? Like I was. And I'm the biggest Brock Purdy guy you got out here, right? So as far as like being a fan of him and stuff, and I'm thinking they got the 2 stops on defense, and then I don't know, man. It was like the heavens opened up, and it was like, all right, time to show the rest of the world and the rest of the league who the best team in the NFL is when healthy, when clicking on all cylinders, and they did that yesterday. We always said with Brock and with any 49er quarterback, but especially Brock, he's a young guy. You don't want to put it all on his shoulders. You just got to get the ball to your playmakers and get out of the way. And that's exactly what he did yesterday. Yes, there was a ton of yak on a lot of those plays, but he also didn't throw any interceptions. He was efficient. He got the ball where it needed to be. In some of the biggest games this year against top competition, Brock has been flawless. And it's just, and I'm not trying to make this all about Brock, but like, it was just like the perfect game. The only thing that would have made it more perfect is if we didn't give up all those garbage yards at the end. That kind of pissed me off. I'm like, I know, kind of tilted the box score a little bit, but it's not over yet though. I put this on Twitter. As great as yesterday was, and I'm so happy, we got to win out essentially.
Yeah.
and hope Philly loses. If Philly loses one game, right, and we win out, we win the number 1 seed because we got the tiebreaker against them and Dallas.
Yep.
So I'm happy, super elated. I'm so glad we shut those Eagles fans up. We might have to go to there again. Think about that,
Could be.
fans. We might have to go to
Could
Philly
be.
again. I'm not saying we can't go in there and beat them twice, but it's tough. But yeah, yesterday was about as good having COVID the last couple weeks and just feeling like trash. That was about as best of a pre 44th birthday / post
Get
COVID
well.
celebration.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, it was great. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Defense played very bend but don't break yesterday. And it's funny, Ty. They talked about this. I was reading this on Twitter. Like the way that they rushed yesterday, they rushed with the game plan in mind of not to like over rush, to
Yeah.
kind of contain the pocket. And I was like,
Yeah.
because I was watching some of the rush moves and like guys were just kind of standing there.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, that was totally so that they didn't over pursue and like give up a huge,
Give up
60-yard
big
touchdown
lanes.
run.
Yep.
So between that and the offense, I thought Kyle Shanahan was in his bag yesterday. I thought Debo proved what he said. He stood on business. That was the saying yesterday.
On business. Yep.
So
on business.
I have a lot more confidence in his team now, knowing they went into the NFC Championship winner's house and smashed them. Not just beat them, smashed them. So, yeah.
David, how'd you feel yesterday watching that game?
It was great. The first quarter, I was like, what's going on here? We gotta make some adjustments here.
Yeah, definitely.
And they did. And the pass rush was 100% about containing Hurts, not giving up that humongous hole he could just take off of.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really depending on our defensive backs to cover guys for a long time too. And honestly, think they did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
We did give up a garbage time TD, some garbage time yards, but I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at what our team did to them. We only got 3 sacks. Javon Kinlaw actually got 2 of them.
Yep.
Which, he
Bosa
showed up.
Yeah, and Bosa should be credited with a sack.
He should be.
I don't know why that stupid rule is the way it is. But if you tackle the quarterback behind the line of scrimmage and he's still within the pocket, that's a sack. Just because he tucked the ball and started to run does not mean he's an automatic running back. It's the dumbest rule ever. But please continue.
I think you're right. I 100% think you're right.
Yeah.
And another young 49er that we haven't seen much of, Kalia Davis, got a sack.
Yeah.
And it's nice seeing him in the game. He's short, he's stout. I'd say he's DJ Jones-ish, but he actually is, bigger than DJ Jones when it comes to weight. I believe he's got 15, 20 pounds on the guy.
Yep.
So, it's nice to see the guys at the end of the line, Javon Kinlaw and, Kalia Davis showing out. The whole D line they were all about just doing their job. Yep. That's what they're doing. Not doing anything spectacular, not trying to bust out all kinds of moves and, do stunts that just stay in your lane. If you can get to them, you get to them. Just don't give up the big play.
Yeah.
And, then Greenlaw.
He's one of my favorite players.
Hold on a second. We're going to get the big Dre.
I just want to say one thing.
Individually. Go ahead.
We put oh my God, Hassan Reddick on skates yesterday. That dude was on skates.
Yep.
I loved it. Every time you saw who was in the trail position on every big play the 49ers ran yesterday. Who was it? Reddick.
Yep.
That made me so happy. I just, because he killed our Super Bowl chances last year, man, with one hit. And I'm not mad at him because it's, it's football, right? It happens. Guys get injured. But to see him just be like the guy trying to chase a toddler around a giant living room or something, trying to catch him because he's got something in his hand like he shouldn't have. That's what it looked like. It was great. I was yeah.
Bryant, how'd you feel about yesterday's game overall?
Oh,
You're
muted,
muted,
my man.
buddy.
Your first question was like, do I feel like compared to last year, would we have won if our quarterback stayed healthy?
Yeah. How do you feel about the game overall? And do you think what you saw, based on what you saw, would we have won, in January?
Last year, I was really disappointed after seeing Purdy go out, and I was still on the edge of my couch praying that we had some kind of miracle. Maybe something, even if we was to win that game, we'd get some kind of miracle and get some kind of quarterback to come. I don't know how everything works out, but still thinking we had a chance. I felt like CMC wielded himself to a touchdown in that
Sure
game.
did.
I feel like I really think if Jimmy G would have just played that game, or suited up, we would have had a chance to win the game. I really do, but I think Brock Purdy would have stayed healthy. We would have won that game. I think that catch was bullshit. I think that catch, they knew it was, and we got robbed, and that was a big momentum shift. And I can prove it to you because when CMC scored the touchdown, he silenced the crowd. And I can prove it to you again. What was our score in this game? Where were the Eagle fans at in that stadium? Wasn't it 70% to 30% 49er fans? And who was standing at the end of the game? There was only 49er fans.
Yep.
So fly,
They all left.
fly home, okay? Because
They flew home.
losing, you're not faithful. It seems like when your team's losing, you walk out of the stadium. And this is what pisses me off with like Fairfeather fans and stuff like this, because me and Tony's only been to a handful of games, right? I went to the 2014 game against the Cincinnati Bengals, and they beat us. Blaine Gabbert was starting for the 49ers. I drove over in my BMW. Ooh, BMW, fancy ass car, right? Well, I had just changed my radiator on my car, and we hit the road. Go over there, great ride. I pulled up into the parking lot. Well, there was a little bit incline. If you know anything about Santa Clara, San Jose, there's a lot of hills. San Francisco, there are a lot of hills. So we pull up, and I didn't have everything zip tied back. I hit my line. So I turn off my car, and my car starts smoking. And I'm like, oh, crap, what's going on? People walked by and laughed. I had little kids pointing at me in jerseys and shit, laughing at me. And I thought, this is bullshit. So I open up the hood, and I see that my overflow hose is spraying out. So I freak out. 2014, I don't know about Uber too much. I don't know about really anything. I walked 10 miles in Santa Clara to go get a hose. Turned out to be the wrong hose. I got a taxi, went and got the right hose. I got the car fixed. It was about the end of the third quarter. I look at Tony and I said, hey, do you want to go in? I mean, we can go now. What do you want to do? She looks at me and says, we're here now. And like, it's not about falling in love with somebody again, but you just like realize, like, I love you so much, right? I look at her and I'm like, okay, let's go. Like, all you need to do to say is yes, right? I'll carry you all the way to the stadium. So we walked about another mile and a half to the stadium because you know about how far you got to walk anyways.
Yeah.
If you're not in the green lot parking lot. So we walk all the way to the stadium. We get there. All we wanted was a freaking beer, right? They get up there. It's the end of the third quarter. They say, oh, we're not selling beer anymore. We're like, okay, that's fine. So instead of walking to our seat and climbing all the way around the stadium, because it's not one thing about Levi Stadium is it doesn't show, like, the signs aren't prevalent to me. Like, I wear glasses, damn it. And when I can't see directions and stuff like that easy for me, I'm like, okay, I need Braille or something like that. And you can't put Braille at the stadium, right? But I'm like, oh, we're not walking all the way around the stadium to get to our seats. So we stood underneath the end zone, watched the end of the fourth quarter. But my point is we walked up to the stadium. People were saying, it's over. 49er fans, Bengal fans, like, well, why are you guys going? It's already over. I'm looking at her, and we're looking at each other. We're in our gear, and we're still marching to the stadium. Why? Because we want to finish the game. We got there. We're 49er fans. We are there because we're fans, right? Win or lose, and that's one thing about Corey Davis is that she's a 49er fan. He always wore red. red and gold. You know, you didn't ever see him really in too much gold, but he always wore red, right? 24/7. And, you know, I mean, like that's what it is. It's you're having a good day. Okay. But, you know, 49ers, that's my team. That's who I am. You know,
There you
that's what
go.
I represent with, you know, it's not about a gang or anything. It's just, I really like the 49ers, you know, and that's what Corey was. And when people are like, oh, I'm leaving the stadium, you're leaving the stadium. Why? You paid how much did you
Tickets
pay?
aren't cheap.
You know, are you trying to dodge the traffic? Because I've been there for early games and I've been there for late games. And if you wait just a few minutes, the traffic seems to really adjust.
Yep.
So you can be out there trying to bottleneck and try to cut people off to get out, or you can get out to your seats, you know, maybe a half an hour later, let the stadium empty out, enjoy the festives of, you know, the end of the game, walk out, get into your car, and there's not as much traffic. That's not a secret, folks. A lot of people know about it. So,
Yep.
you know, it's just about, you know, being comfortable. I'm not somebody who wants to drive through traffic. I've been a professional driver for many years and I don't like commuting. Now I work 5 minutes away from my job. I do not like commuting. So, no, do I think that sorry to take over the whole show. I think that we would have beat them last year? Most definitely with Purdy. And I think this year we just proved it because you've seen the first couple of drives was bad. It seemed like it was raining a little bit. Maybe he had like, you know, maybe he didn't have the biggest hands people want to try to knock him for. Maybe he doesn't know how to handle wet balls, paws, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
I just like, I'm
I
like,
don't think a
okay,
lot
so
of us do.
we went down there. The Eagles, 2 field goals, right? Special teams matter. We stopped him. We held him the third, and that was it. After that, did they ever really truly get like? I'm like, okay, so they scored their field goals, and then from there we just clicked into another gear, and we never really slowed down. I think the Niners are probably better than any team in the NFL right now. The only team close to us, and I'm not humbly saying this, the Ravens. That's the only close team to us.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can beat the
got
Chiefs
you.
right now. Right now, I think we can beat the Chiefs.
Can I say something about
Oh, of course.
being a diehard fan? To kind of piggyback on what you were talking about, Bryant, back in when 2011 when we started winning again, I always wear my 49ers stuff all the time. Authentic
time.
jerseys back in the day,
Yeah.
jackets, hats, always repping. I look like a big adult dope. Like I'm a big kid. I look like a big idiot with all my gear on, right? So I'm at the ATM at my job, which I work at a grocery chain up in New York, right? And one of the guys that was working there was like, oh, here we go. 49ers starting to win. Here comes the people. He goes, then you turned around, he goes, and he was like, oh, it's Aaron. Aaron's always repping. He noticed all those years I was working at my job where we were sucking. I would always come in every single week, every single weekend of the season, even when we were winning 4 games. And he was like, oh, it was you. Never mind. I know you're real. So you can rep your team regardless of how trash they may be. You still got to rep.
Still got
the Eagles fans show exactly what kind of phony baloney, fake ass, pretender fans when they were booing. Somebody said they were booing during when the Buffalo game was happening. That somebody was saying like they were at the game and they were booing like really early in the game and they were booing their team early. I'm like, they're the NFC champs. You got one of the best rosters in the NFL. Your team can't be losing for a little bit and you're already turning on them. That's just ridiculous. So whatever.
You heard it on TV yesterday during halftime. They're going into the half and the Boo Birds were out.
Wow.
They were loud and proud. Like they were unhappy over a half of football. I'm like, you got a whole other half to go.
Right. All I was thinking of is we got to worry about the second half.
Yeah. Do they have no confidence in making second half adjustments and getting back into this game? And like, what about you being 5-0 after trailing at halftime, right? And all that stuff? Nope. No belief in your team.
I heard they were a second half team.
That's what I heard too.
Yeah,
they almost were when that penalty happened. Well, we shut that down real quick.
But think about this. See, and this is one thing I want to address with you guys. Last year, in that NFC Championship game. Remember when their first two scores came via the missed call by the refs on the catch that wasn't a catch. And then their second score came after we stopped them on a 3rd and 4 or something. We stopped them. They punted. JP Mason gets pushed into the kicker, and they flagged him for roughing the kicker instead of saying he got pushed into it, which gave them a 15-yard penalty and sustained their drive. And it's kind of like the same thing happened yesterday, where once again Brian Schneider with his stupid kickoff doesn't kick it out the end zone, kicks it short. We get 15 yards of penalty on the face mask for the kickoff. Then the Drake Greenlaw penalty happens. They receive 30 yards,
30 freaking yards
worth of penalties that help them go down and score. But other than that, they really weren't doing anything. So it's like, are they really that good if they're depending on penalties and stupid butt hump play to move the ball?
I think they're talented. I think they're really good.
They are a good team.
I just think they're also opportunists.
There you go. That's the key
They
right
play
there.
at home. They get all their primetime games at home. It's Rotkus. If you're not a good team who is not mentally strong, you're going to go in there and you're going to fall apart, just like our teams used to do every time we went into Seattle. And, they've also been beaten up on also rans this year. Didn't they have a lot of close games last year as well?
They did. And they also played a lot of bad teams last year too. But yes, you're exactly right.
They have a lot of talent. Their defensive line is dangerous. I think their offensive skill position players are dangerous. I think Jalen Hurts, some people are kind of crapping on him right now. I think he's dangerous. I just think when healthy, and everybody is on their game, 49ers are the best team in the NFL. When healthy, when everything's going, people could talk. I'm so sick of the Brock Purdy slander. Just listen, give him his freaking flowers. We had Garoppolo essentially with the same roster and Garoppolo with a healthy team, and he never played half of as efficient. Just because you have weapons, there's no guarantee you're still going to play well. You still got to go out there and make throws. You still got to go out there and make reads. You got to still go out there and be able to play under pressure in big games and big stadiums. So whatever. Yeah.
That's what I like about that kind of scenario, like you say, okay, put any quarterback in the 49ers, the offense, they should be successful, right? Ha, 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 ha. Right? You guys ever play that Slingo game with the little El Diablo or whatever? He took your money at, the little laugh, right? The devil laugh. No. Yep. You guys, we've had quarterbacks come and go in our offense that have had success in other offenses, and they've been there with Kyle in other offenses, but maybe he's matured, maybe they've gotten hurt, whatever. We've seen Brian Hoyer in Cleveland with Kyle Shanahan. We've seen different, scenarios, right? So now, we got Jimmy Garoppolo, who supposedly was decent. Well, we know he got hurt, and maybe from there he was broken, but he still took the team to the Super Bowl. Oh, he's carried. Well, he still took it to him. Can I take the team to the Super Bowl? Ty, can you take the team to the Super Bowl? David, Aaron, no, none of you. I don't want to hear you guys say that, right? No. This is a quarterback that even if he handed off the ball, he did it the best way. He did it better than 30 other teams in the NFL. Or 30 teams, right? So, it's kind of like a Trent Dilfer situation, right? Trent Dilfer still had to make the checks, read the offense, read the defense, call the plays, and deliver. So you might have the best attributes or best athletic ability to be the best success. But if you don't have it up here, and now I'm not going to blast any quarterback, but just for example, like Josh Allen, you can throw the length of the football field, but you're throwing interceptions. Oh, well, you're giving the other guy a chance to make a play. Well, why throw the ball down that far if you could dink and dunk your way down to a touchdown, but you want to go for it all for right now? And didn't just say, oh, well, it's a punt and, it's okay. No, then you're putting it on the back of your defense. And that, to me, you're not playing complementary football with your team, because now you're asking for your defense to go out there and save the game so you can go out there and play hero ball again. I don't know. Like, that's just thoughts, and it's like not every scenario works that way. But when you look at Brock Purdy, he's doing what is being asked of him, and he is making decisions on his own where Kyle's not saying, do this. He's just doing it. So, yeah, you want to put somebody else in this 49er offense and see if Brock Purdy can do it better or worse. Okay, that's fine. But we got Brock Purdy, and we're winning games right now. I don't want anything to change.
Exactly. It ain't broke. So there's no need to fix it, right? And I don't know. Ever since that Miami game, after that Miami game last year, Brock's first appearance, there just seems to be this heated debate about the kid. And I don't know. I don't get it. It doesn't stop. He literally just finished his rookie year, right? Just got 17 games under his belt.
Can we agree, or like maybe this isn't the show to get into it, but it's not just the people that are fans of Trey Lance who want Trey Lance to start who don't like Brock Purdy, or who don't want to give Brock Purdy his, whatever you want to say, flowers. It's just there's a lot of people that are just skeptical of Brock Purdy and just him being a franchise quarterback or whatever. But wasn't Tom Brady like very like close to the same situation? And people, I don't know, like, so how many Super Bowls does Brock Purdy have to win before? And I think that's really the question is win a Super Bowl, right?
They said, I was just watching something. They said when the Patriots won their first Super Bowl, there were a lot of people who thought that the Patriots were going to go back to Drew Bledsoe the following season. Like, people weren't sold on Tom Brady after that first Super Bowl. They thought he was essentially carried, which in, some ways he was.
He was. We can say that, and it's okay to say that. Just like Trent Dilfer was carried. Other quarterbacks were carried. Football's the ultimate team sport.
There is games
we
where
lose
Brock
sight
is
of.
carried-ish, where, his yak guys, and then there's games where he makes big-time giant throws that everybody doesn't want to give him credit for because he's not 6'4" and he doesn't have a rocket arm and he was drafted last in the draft. They will refuse to give him credit, and they build all these mountains that he's got to climb over to prove that he's good. Well, he's got to do this. And then when he does that, well, now he's got to do this. Now he's got to go into this environment blindfolded with his eyes, with his hands tied. It's like, when is it going to stop? When are you going to just be like, you know what? Not saying he's Joe Montana, not saying he's Tom Brady, but he's a pretty damn good quarterback. And the Niners are really lucky to have him. And this is the best that this franchise has played since they've gotten these guys in 2017 when Kyle and Sean have got here. This Niners team is awesome. When healthy, this is a badass team. And I'm sick of all the people always find like Montana had yak guys. I said it on Twitter last night. Jerry Rice, John Taylor, yak. How come Montana didn't get grief? All of a sudden, Brock Purdy has the same type of offense with essentially the same type of players who, if you put them on any other team, Ayuk's not a top. I mean, Ayuk's a good receiver, but he's not like top of the league. Debo is a good player, but he's not like top receiver in the league. The Niners offense is just built perfectly with the players that they have, and Brock is efficient and he gets a job done, and he needs to start getting his flowers. That's all I'm saying. I'm sick of the narrative of like, we got to keep moving the goalpost constantly for Brock every time he accomplishes something.
Yeah,
but he's small.
It's good.
He's got a weak arm.
Good.
He's small. He's got
his
small
QB
hands.
rating was only 148 in
That's
yesterday's game.
But he still has small hands,
He still got small hands. If the ball is wet, we got issues. The problem with the Purdy conversation is it's too polarizing.
Super.
It's either you're on one end of the spectrum or the other. There can't be any middle ground, right? You can't say, yes, he's a young quarterback that's still developing, but he makes great plays when he's out there. He's a great point guard distributing for the offense. Even that's a positive statement, right? But people will say, no, he has to be great. He runs the offense. Or no, that's not true at all. It's the other guys around him. There's no middle ground. So it's very stupid, because everyone should be happy
right
that we have a competent guy under center who's running this thing and who can make plays for us when he needs to. Yesterday was a pure distribute the ball game, right?
100%.
Just get the ball in the hands of the playmakers because their skill guys can't match up with our skill guys, right? So I'm just going to get it out. But then there comes a time where the pass protection breaks down. So Brock has to make a play. And what does he do? He runs with it, runs through a linebacker. Now he's feeling good. And guess what he does? He drops his shoulder, boom, and runs through a defensive back. That's Brock making plays. You got to love it. But people will look past that and say, oh, it wasn't because of this.
Well, his air yards were only 35 on that play.
It's stupid. It's stupid.
He was going against a team that had a player out, so we can't give him credit because if that player was playing, it's like, to me, you know what it is with me? You know what it is with me, with people, man? It's just the fact that, and we're 49er fans, dude. Why are we not celebrating? It doesn't mean you have to be a blind, loyal fan and just be like, I love the Niners, and you can't say anything negative about them. Or,
right.
No, it's just like, but at the same time, like, dude, he's the best quarterback we've had since probably Kaepernick. And that says a lot. Kaepernick was a dynamic, electric, offensive playmaker. Like, you say what you want about his mentals after the first couple of years, but that dude had elite skills, arm. He could run. Like, that was exciting time for 49er fans. Yep. And we're feeling that way again. And Brock has none of that. And yet, like you said, some games he's carried and some games he has to take it upon himself to make big time accurate throws downfield into coverage. So
yeah,
you're right. There's no in between. It's either Trey Lance got screwed and I'm going to be mad forever, or Brock Purdy's MVP. There's like no, like, okay, Brock's pretty good. Maybe not MVP quality. I mean, technically with numbers, you could say that he is, but but whatever. Who cares? We're winning.
Who cares? Exactly. That's the bottom line. Wins and losses. Let's be happy.
Right.
Hey,
so
he's young. Bryant, go ahead.
Okay, so I'll be quick. So we had a 2 possession. They went down and they scored 2 field goals because we didn't give up touchdowns. So is this that big game that everybody wanted to see Brock Purdy come from behind? It's a weather game, wet balls, small hands, paws, whatever you want to say. And then for me, like, and I'll give it to David real quick. It's Steve Young. It's Joe Montana, Steve Young, right? There used to be a clear, it was Jeff Garcia, right? Well, at this point, I'm starting to, and I know he's MVP, Pro Bowl, whatever, very close, went to playoffs. But at this point, I'm throwing Purdy into almost number 3 spot. Not almost, I am putting him into number 3 spot this time because I seen what Jeff Garcia has done later in his career. So if Purdy continues to play like he's playing now for 4 more years, he's basically beat out Jeff Garcia's career tenure as a 49er. So I'm going to say, in my humble opinion, Joe, Steve, Purdy, Jeff, and then it's up to debate. I think Alex and then Colin, because I think Alex was a little bit more polished. Kaepernick was more that athletic. But we've seen how athletic he was, and then it started to fizzle out. He had an injury. We don't have to get into that. He had an arm and a knee injury. He came back into the league as a vegan, underweight, several different decisions that could have probably shaped his career. And then when you try to trade your head coach, he didn't say, I want Harbaugh gone. But when the organization decides to try to make a shift, what direction are you going with, and then at that point, then the whole organization, the team, everybody took like a pause, so that stunted Kaepernick as well. But then Jimmy Garoppolo, I'm not going to say he's a bad quarterback, but I'm not going to say he was better than Kaepernick. But then how many championship games did he take us to? Again, you got to be good at handing off the ball, right? You got to give somebody credit for doing what they did, right? Reading the defense, waving to John Candy in the audience, whatever you want to say. So I think we've had some pretty good quarterbacks in the last couple of seasons. We did. We just have to have the right quarterback and the right coordinator and coach at the same time. Because we've seen it. Alex Smith had how many coordinators? how many coaches, and then
Revolving door.
he got one that he really, clicked with, and then he caught fire. Kaepernick, same thing. Then you start revolving the coach on him, it messes him up. Shanahan's been the most, consistent thing since, so I don't know, guys. Like, I really think this is our season. So
Yeah.
Sorry, David.
So Brock Purdy, though, Brock Purdy's a young QB.
Yes.
He was
Extremely
looked
young.
over by all these teams because doesn't have arm strength.
It's the
When it
measurables.
comes down to it, there's a lot of good quarterbacks that don't have cannon arms, and it's all about, can he play? And I'm gonna say he can play.
Yep.
And what was he drafted to a good football team? Yes, he definitely was. Most young quarterbacks drafted high in the draft to go to teams that aren't good, teams that are building.
Mm-hmm.
And that does not help the start of their career. So he's starting it out right. He's on a good football team. That was a good football team before he joined. And all he has to do is play quarterback and be good at it. And he is.
Yep.
We're not asking him to do anything stellar. Just play quarterback.
Yeah.
Don't
Just
make
run the
mistakes.
offense. Yeah. Don't make mistakes. Make the right reads, good throws, distribute the ball. And that's what he's good at.
Stay
He's
out of
very
trouble
good
off
at
the
that.
field.
Yeah.
Don't date
Well.
porn stars. Thank you.
Well, hey,
He gets in a
to each his
combine
own,
and
but,
runs some cornrows. I don't got a problem with that, though.
All right. We got to talk about this defense because the defense gave up 19 points, the same amount of points they gave up in Cleveland. Should we be worried about Steve Wilkes again? We gave up 19 in Cleveland, and everyone thought the world was on fire. We have to blame the defense. It's Steve
Gotta blame
Wilkes'
some.
fault.
We got
gave
a
up
new
19
defensive
yesterday.
coordinator. We got sideline Steve now.
Not to be
Instead of
confused
Sky
with
High
Not to
Steve.
be confused with Scuba Steve.
Right. Good old shout out to Scuba Steve, an American hero. But not a Skybox Steve. Now we got Sideline Steve, different guy.
That's right. Yep.
I thought his game plan was masterful.
Yep.
Yesterday, tip of the hat to him. And also, as you can see, he brought up more defensive linemen to implement that game plan. Randy Gregory was out there. We mentioned Kalia Davis. Kinlaw always plays, but he got a lot more reps in the game yesterday. There was even another guy out there I forgot his name, but he implemented every defensive lineman he could use for that game plan. Talk about the defense real quick and what you like, what you didn't like. David, go first.
I liked how we containment pass rushed instead of just
Indeed.
going all over the place, all willy-nilly, like trying to get the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
A big problem we've had is against mobile quarterbacks. They burn us because we're pass rushing and we're trying to get there no matter what, making moves, stunts, leaving gaping holes for them to just escape out of and run upfield. And yesterday we contained it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we played with, containment. And our defensive backs are also playing good football. So it was a masterful game plan. Shout out to Sideline Steve.
Sideline Steve. That's his new name, Sideline Steve. Brian, what'd you think about Sideline Steve's game plan and the defense overall?
I like the defense. I thought, they it was a team win. I don't think it was really just on the offense or the defense.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. I just want to focus on the defense for a second.
They came to play, but it was the same intensity from both sides of the field. I really think they're trusting themselves. You can see the defensive backs are trying to test themselves. They are not afraid to have penalties. It doesn't seem like we're getting caught with as many penalties. And there's been a couple times where I thought, hey, we should have probably had a penalty there. But maybe it was their technique, maybe it was how they were running or whatnot. And again, I think you could throw a penalty almost on any play if you wanted to be nitpicky.
Yeah.
But the Niners, you can see they're using their hands and they're swatting the ball, pause, whatever you want to say. I think it's just funny to say pause. But no, they're using everything they can to stop the player. There was an opportunity, a couple of games like DK, the Seahawks game. They literally ran him out of bounds. He still got the ball, but it was out of bounds. And then this game, you see using the back of his hand like he was smacking a fly away or something. Like, so yeah. And then you always know Fred's playing with intensity, and he's playing really well. He actually seems to be playing a little looser, in my opinion. I don't think he feels like there's as much pressure on him. And I know Hufunga's gone. We're missing him, but it doesn't seem like we're missing a beat with him gone. Yeah. So for me, I don't know what's going on with Eric Armstead. I know he's ailing, and I think they said that he might not be playing. I think they said he might be really hurt now. But Kinlaw stepped up really big. And then we had Clea Davis step up, and what's his name? Randy Gregory.
Gregory.
He was in the backfield almost all game. I was like, number 5 is that. I knew who number 5 was. I just kept saying it to be funny to Tony. And no shots at anybody in particular, just being funny. It's like, but that's just me. So I think we did good. I think the defense really came out. Sideline Steve, I would definitely tell him not to go back to the booth. He's better looking on the sideline.
Yeah. One thing I want to say real quick about the defensive backs, you can see their technique. It's all about technique. And one thing they're doing this year, much more than last year, is they're turning their heads and looking for the ball. Just them turning their heads alone is making a difference because they're able to play the ball. And more importantly, they aren't drawing flags by just running into the guy's chest, right? If a official sees them turning their head, trying to play the ball, they're going, okay, they're going after the ball. This is just coincidental contact. I can't really throw a flag on that. It's huge, and it makes all the difference. Aaron, what did you think of the defense?
I thought they played as well as they could. I mean, that's a good team. That's good offense, best offensive line in the NFL, you could say. I mean, top to bottom, that offensive line, I mean, they're good. They're skilled position players. They're good. Their quarterback's good. We played about as bendy but don't break defense as you could yesterday. It was all about containing things. It wasn't going for broke on a pass rush and missing and having a guy run 60 yards up the sideline.
Yep.
The Niners secondary played really well in that game. Like, there were times where he had the ball for like 10 seconds and he had nowhere to throw. That's on the pass. Or
that's unheard of.
Secondary. Props to everybody. I thought Mooney was a little shaky early. Then I thought he played himself out of it. I thought, they gave up some yards. They gave up some plays. But none of it really ever seemed to put them in harm's way of ever losing the game. It's hard to explain. Like, you look at the numbers and you're like, how did the Niners win by over 20 points?
Just how they survived that first quarter, right?
Your defense played bend but don't break. They allowed 2 field goals. The Niners after scored 6 straight touchdowns.
6 straight.
That's insane. That hasn't been done in over 30 years. I thought the defense played as well as it could have in one of the most challenging venues to play on the road, in the cold, in the rain, December game for, bragging rights, at least, head-to-head bragging rights. And then, who knows what happens the next couple weeks for the number 1 seed. Niners went in and took care of business. They played a complete game. Offensively, they were dominant. Defensively, they got after it. It was just, dude, I can't say the defense did one thing or the other than I'd say that I think the back end played as good as it could play considering who they were going up against and where it was being played. So props to the defense. I thought Wilkes had one of his best games called yesterday since he's been part of the 49ers organization.
Indeed. And of course, we got to get to the controversy of the night.
Yeah.
Dre Greenlaw versus the head of security.
I would have done the same thing. I would have punched that dude right in the mouth.
um. Well, one, he got ejected because they said it was a punch, and it really wasn't a punch.
Nah, it was like
He
a
was
reach.
really he reached at the guy just to like point at him with his knuckle. That's a thing people do. Point at him with your knuckle, like I will punch you in the face.
This is what
But
I
they-
want to do.
But they, yeah, exactly. They said he punched, which is weird because guys punch each other in the face all the time on the field, and you hardly see an ejection. But what do you guys think about that incident?
I
Go ahead,
didn't.
Bryant.
I didn't see it being a punch. Okay, and for me, I
I
can't
didn't
think.
either.
I can't think of the movie I'm thinking of. It's not like Napoleon Dynamite. It's got to be like Austin Powers or something. But it's where like the guy's using his hand, and he's like touching the guy's face, you know, and it's like you're like. So that it looked like he did. It looked like the guy reached down and touched his face. So to me, like because it didn't seem like he retracted his arm. It was like he was like, and the guy's like, you know. So for me, it looked weird, and then there was like some scuffle, and I thought he got in trouble because he actually touched the guy. So yeah, it looked really funny to me. And then for whatever example, this is like, didn't everybody learn from Mike Tomlin? The coaches, the staff aren't supposed to interfere with the players. You can't put your knee into the player when he's running down trying to score a touchdown. You're not allowed to tackle the players. When you're a security guard, if you want to continue being a security guard, you're supposed to make sure you're securing the area. Not making a fight, or provoking someone.
I'm supposed to protect the head coach.
Right, so like I don't get it. Like, did he think that the head coach was gonna get punched right there? Like, I don't know. I think it was wrong to inject our player right there, but I don't think at the point when at the moment we thought we needed him, when he came out, it didn't seem like it affected us after that. So I know they did score a couple times, but we were still rolling on offense. It didn't seem like it
exactly.
really.
Yeah. Aaron, when you saw that, what would you say?
I give Drain Greenlaw props for self-control, because if that would have been me and somebody touched me in the heat of battle, I would have knocked him out. Like, that would have been instant jaw crushed, like face to like, man, like, you don't belong even touching or being near players. You're supposed to be there for the crowd. You're not there to protect the coach. What the hell are you doing? Like the guy on KNBR said, this big fat ass is standing on the sideline, getting into it with players. He doesn't play. Why are you even talking to the players? Why are you putting your hands in Dre Greenlaw's face? That was, oh my God. Like, he should be banned from the sideline. He should be banned from the sideline. Those are a bunch of dudes with battle armor on, freaking high intensity game. People's adrenaline and all that are going, and you're going to sit there with your little grubby fat paw and try to bear paw somebody in the face. What are you doing? And then what made it worse is their rotten coach is saying you better throw him out. You can see his words saying you better do something with Greenlaw. Like,
57 better be thrown out.
Well, who are you? And like, why do you all this pull with the referees? I'm just glad
dude instigated it.
Right. That whole dude. What was more gratifying than to see that prick, that coach, yesterday after that loss? He had nothing to say.
Nope.
That whole stadium, that sideline, the players, that whole situation with the guy and the pushing and the punching, that was the most gratifying win, because other teams, other players might have melted down and the Eagles could have taken momentum and we would have lost. And the fact that we stayed on it and shoved it down their throat was the most gratifying thing for me yesterday.
So what was worse? What was worse, guys? Sorry to change it again, Ty, but what's worse? Turning around and seeing your fans that 70 to 30% of capacity in that stadium is gone.
All 49 fans.
Or getting beat that bad, because we know the Niners fans, they'll leave sometimes. Some people do leave. It's not everybody. I told you my sad story, but some fans will stick it out the whole entire time. And we've seen this with other fan bases, but to talk the way you did, to throw beer cans at women the way you did,
Yeah.
and to get your rear handed to you the way you did, and then you what did you crawl back to your car? I mean, like, why again, these are $200-$300 tickets, and you're so how humiliating was that for the Eagles fans to see that they had a Super Bowl appearance last year and they had an empty stadium at the hands of us.
Shut him up. That's pure and simple.
How do you stop a bully? Punch him in the mouth.
Punch him in the mouth. That's what we did. David, when you saw that Greenlaw incident, what did you think?
My first thought was, why is that security guard in my player's face? You know, like, you're on the sideline. You're supposed to be getting out of the way. You're not supposed to be like standing there trying to tackle a player, number one. And then I saw Greenlaw extend his arm and kind of do the smell my finger thing, you know, like right here. And it was, I was like, as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh no. Like, just because he made contact, I knew that they were going to eject him. You know, and this is Greenlaw we're talking about. He got ejected last season over something I don't think he should have been ejected for. But, you know, it pumped our team up. After they ejected Greenlaw, it pissed our team off. That was it. We're on a mission. You know, at that point, I'm Aaron, folks. I'm Aaron. I'm taking over for Aaron.
That's right. We lost him. It's okay. I got it covered.
But yeah, you know, we were on a mission to start with, but here it goes. You know, mission overdrive now because you just made the team mad, and we just punched them in the head, kicked them while they were down, picked them up, and threw them over the ledge after that play.
That was so beautiful. Oh my God, I felt so good.
What caught me off guard, one, was the penalty happened, and I'm like, geez, Dre, arg. Like, we know you can slam guys, but come on, this is a big game. Take it easy. But then that broke out, and I thought they would tackle on more yards and such. And I didn't think he would get ejected. But I'm like, wait a minute, who I thought the guy was a coach because he was so like far on the sideline, like close to the field. Like he was standing on the white of the out of bounds stuff. He wasn't even behind that. He was literally on the white. If you go back and watch that play, he was like standing right at where Devontae Smith was coming on the white, as if he was like the wide receivers coach or something. So I thought he was a coach. And when he got into it, I'm like, why is this coach like all up in the business, right? The referee is right there. What is he doing? Then to find out he's the head of security, my thing is, you're the head of security. You're supposed to be securing the team from the fans, from anybody running on the field and such, right? You totally were not doing your job.
Yeah.
And I'm big on just do your job. He was not doing his job at all. He, like I said, go back and watch that play. He's standing on the white as the game is going on. Why are you there? You're supposed to be walking the perimeter, talking to your security team, making sure everything's okay. We know how the fans in Philly are.
Because that coach likes to talk that S.
Yeah, they threw snowballs at Santa. They've thrown stuff at their own team before. You're supposed to be walking around
full beer cans at Santa.
Exactly. You're supposed to be doing your job, but no. You're standing on the white like you're a coach. Now you're trying to shove a player. Hey, get off my guy. That's not your job. It's out of hand. He was
in the tunnel after the game telling players, we'll be back. We'll get them. I'm like, man, go on Jenny Craig and get out of here, man. Get out. Like, what are you doing, dude?
Who is we? You're not on the field. You're not a part of this.
You're a 600-pound security guard. You look like the guy from King of Queens. Like, who are you
Yeah.
going to stop? Who are you going to protect?
They
The only
had the
thing you're
Paul
protecting
Blart.
is the cheeseburger that's in your glove compartment. Like, come on, dude.
I love all the Paul Blart mall cop theme memes that were going around today. I
Right.
thought those are hilarious because it's
So he's
exactly
he's
the
always
way
in
it
that
was.
shirt.
Yep, on the Segway. That's
Oh,
exactly the way it was. But they did that, and the beautiful thing was, crowd was pumped. They go down and score, and then Debo happened
that's right.
on the
Props to
very
Debo.
next drive. Brock hits Debo over the middle. He breaks the tackle of the linebacker, and then he's gone. Shut him right back up. Huge for Debo. It's just a huge game overall. And Debo said exactly what he said. Last season, he felt they were trash. He said the game wasn't going to be close. And sure enough, he was right on all accounts. What do you think about Debo's performance?
It looks like a Super Bowl MVP performance right there.
He helped
Bryant,
me my football game, so I'm really happy.
over 100 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's a lot of points.
I needed 60 points to win, and I won by like 120 points. So I'm like very happy. I had 3 players left to go. I had Pacheco and Mahomes, and I had the Packers defense. And because of Debo's points already in the game, I got in a good position to win. So, yeah, third place in my really happy.
Yeah. David, what do you think about Debo?
He talked the talk, and he definitely walked the walk. I don't know if there's many players around that talk the talk and then walk the walk. You got guys that do a lot of talking and they come out and it's like, where were you?
Mm-hmm.
Like Debo, he's talking, he's walking, folks. He will do whatever comes out of his mouth. If he says it, it's gonna happen.
Debo was definitely in Fuego.
Man, listen.
Fuego with a little bit of spice on top of it.
He was 5 alarm,
and he's
towering inferno.
I watch him, and all I could think of, Ty, was if he that was like a Super Bowl MVP performance. Like I squeaked that out before Bryant started talking about like that's the kind of performance where like if you make it to a Super Bowl, I don't care who wins the MVP as long as you win. But like that kind of game where he essentially like got the ball and willed himself into the end zone twice or three times on plays where it was like all 100% effort plays where no one wants to tackle him. They're like, screw that. I'm making a business decision. So
yeah. There's a term, facts. When everybody says something like that's like true, like, oh, the 49ers are just a good team. Facts, right? Oh, the 49ers got a dope uniform. Facts. Or like, oh, it's so much better when it's 70 degrees and sunny outside instead of raining. Facts, right? That's what everybody says.
Aaron's horrible with women. Facts.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to.
David McNiner is a ladies' man. That's why he's always showing the guns. Facts, right?
Mine are covered up. I've got pea shooters over here.
Yeah. Like everything Debo said was like, they're trash. We're going to score them. It's not going to be close. Well, facts. It's like he came out and put his own fact stamp on the whole situation. And no one can argue with that. Absolutely brilliant. And, he mentioned their DBs are trash. And Steve-O jumped the gun on me here. He says, Jennings throwing dude out of bounds is sweet. That might have been one of the sweetest plays of the entire game. Just one-on-one, man-on-man. And he just shoved him aside like a little kid, like, get off me. and the dude stumbled out of bounds. He stumbled out of the field of play, and he
That's like that
walks in
crazy uncle.
untouched.
That's like that crazy uncle playing half court basketball with a bunch of young kids acting like Michael Jordan, and he's just like pushing children out of the way to go dunk. That's what that looked like. It looked like someone's old grandfather playing with a bunch of 13-year-olds. Like, get out of my way. Oh, it was beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. It was just a joy to see. And Bryant, Jake Moody, 6 for 6 on PATs.
My dude.
Gotta talk about him.
Hey, they had a couple of penalties on special teams that had to back him up a little bit, and he still was able to make them. It does seem to, when he's in the middle, it seems to be like he does really, really good. So just try to line him up in the center of the field when he looks like he kicks straight on. I don't know if he's always been doing it. And then somebody said it. I think it was John Jay. Shout out to him. He said that Jake Moody's like been perfect, even like all the way through his college career for extra points. So hey, that's all we need because nobody wants to see the Niners line up for a field goal. We want to score a touchdown. For scoring 6 touchdowns, let's have 6 extra points. Like that's hand in hand, right? Like it should be 7 points a touchdown, not 6 points and they missed the extra point. Or now they're going for 2 points. We're not the Steelers. We don't go for 2-point conversions unless we really, really need it. So
we don't waste the time.
Mitch Wisnowski, I think he had one banana punt, banana ball punt, and it looked really good. And from after the first quarter, everything just started clicking. Also, like letting Debo run the ball. Let Debo run the ball. He was pumped. He got the ball to begin with. Came out on special teams kickoff return. I did see that they let Ronnie Bell get the ball too. But when Debo got the ball, he didn't look like he was afraid to get hurt or anything, and he looked like he. Can anybody tell me that the Eagles really looked like they wanted to tackle Debo? They might say they wanted to tackle him, but nobody wanted to do it on the field. You could tell.
Their secondary is super finesse.
Yeah.
Their D-line are grown-ass men, but that secondary, the Eagles are super finesse. They don't want to touch nobody.
Yeah.
Just
look at
that
Jennings
secondary
play.
with your offensive linemen and receivers who can block. They don't want to touch nobody.
Mm-hmm.
I think this
grown man football right there.
Straight statement game for the Niners. I think we put the rest of the league on notice. Yeah, we lost 3 games in a row, but you could very well say that we could have won 2 out of those 3 games. The Bengals game, we lost the Bengals game, but the other 2 games, we came very close to winning those games. So
I'm saying the Bengals game too, because we could have tied that game up at the beginning of the 4th or at end of the 3rd, whatever. We could have tied that game up, and the situation would have been totally different from there. So we were in all that games, could have been easily winnable. But that's ancient history now. Now we're in this different cycle of the team. They're rolling. Everyone's relatively healthy, except for a few guys here and there. But the team overall is intact and moving forward in the right direction, where you want them to be moving in the month of December, going into January, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the outlook is very positive. We're all going to be schedule watching these other teams for the next few weeks to see what's up, to be based on seeding. But I want to ask you this question. Everyone puts importance on being the number 1 seed, but based on what you saw yesterday and based on our history from the last 2 years, is it really important for this team to have the number 1 seed?
Yes, I do think
you think so? Okay,
for
explain your why to that.
Health.
Long
season, physical brand of ball on both sides. It's just much easier to win a game in the playoffs when you're in your home stadium with your fans and you happen to be a really good team. I think the Eagles are still really, really good. And, saying we're just going to go back to Philly and smash them again, it's not. The NFL is every game is its own thing, right?
Yeah.
Are we capable of going on a run? Yes. Do I want us to have a really long playoff like we did, like because it felt like in the championship game last year we kind of fizzled out in the second half. But a part of it also was the defense was on the field the whole game too. But
Yeah. That was
um,
you can't really look at
I
that one.
think for this year it would be just icing on the cake to get home field because, like, man, get 2 weeks off. We've beaten the Cowboys, we've beaten the Eagles. You know, we smacked them both. We smacked Seattle. So, like, any team that comes in, we have good history against them. And it's just easier to win it's just easier to win at home. I rather us have the number one seed. I really do. I mean, 2019, we had it and we went all the way to the Super Bowl. So, just based on that, yeah, I think it's super important. Is it end all? No, but I mean, if you want to be honest here, yeah, I would much rather have it than not.
David, what do you
With all
think?
the traveling that we're doing this season,
Yes,
Mhm.
you
and
know,
no days off.
yeah, I honestly look at home field like it's important for that reason.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah,
You know, with
Okay.
our players get to be at home, you know, we get that extra bye week. You know, everyone's got to come to us, right?
Yeah. Bryant, what you think?
I think it's a mentality thing for this team, for the career of this team, or the little tenure that this team's went on. They would like to have it at home because it's a mental thing. If you look at our team back in 2012, we went on we were at home in Candlestick. We know who number 10 is. We didn't get to the Super Bowl. We had home field advantage. 2013, we went to the Super Bowl against we won the NFC Championship game against the Atlanta Falcons.
Atlanta.
Yeah. 2014, we beat Carolina. We beat Green Bay. We lost to Seattle. Okay. We could have won it there on the road too. It was the mentality of the team. They didn't have to win it on the road or at home. Being at home, yeah, you get hey, we're at home. And that's not to put anybody's opinion here on a blast or anything like that. I think the idea is this team wants to have the NFC Championship game at home. I think if we somehow can get the second seed and then still end up with the home, NFC Championship at home, I think that's going to go into their mentality again. It's like, oh, it's just another, like, oh man, another bonus, right? We got it at home this year. Everything's going our way this year, like fate, right? It's all about unicorns and miracles, right? No, we don't have to have that. We don't have to have that, but I think it's just going to go into it. I like the team going 3 games in a row because they're still fresh. They're not. I understand you get torn up, you get worn down, and you get tired. But I also feel like sometimes when you have that first week off, I've seen it other teams. They come out and they're flat. They're not firing all cylinders. The other team that just struck fire and started winning 3 games in a row and come into the playoffs, and they had to win every game to get there. They're the dark horse that just knocked you out. So it depends on our mentality, and if it really means that much for the Niners to get first field home finish, we just put ourselves into that position right now. We need a couple more teams to help us out. We need Philly to lose a game, but at this point, I don't see a team besides maybe one other team on this schedule that's going to give us any problems. And I don't think that's a homer statement. So I just want us to get in, and we can win it.
Yeah. I'm kind of on your side. The having the number 1 seed would be great. Just to get that week off, Aaron, like you said, health, get the guys' bodies refreshed. I think that alone will allow us to run the table. Because this team, as good as it is, being fresh is just downright scary. I don't think anybody wants that. So if we get that number 1 seed and have home field, I think it's a wrap. It's just send us to Vegas, right?
Yeah.
It's a wrap. Yeah. If we don't get it, I'm not going to fret because this team has shown it's capable of going on the road and still handling business. And even the past 2 years with us being dinged up, being injured, we went on the road and we should have won those games, right? So I'm either way on it. But if we get that number 1 seed, it's a wrap. The league is on notice. There no team is going to want to see us. Cowboys fans can talk all they want. Oh, we going to see them again. Eagles fans could talk all they want. We gonna see them again. Lions fans, they ain't play us yet. They don't want it. They do not want it.
Vikings
They're-
don't want it. The Packers don't want it.
They
Same
definitely don't want it.
Falcons,
Seattle definitely don't want it.
Seattle, the Rams, whoever's going to make it in, they do not want
Yeah.
it. This is this like have you guys seen the Blues Brothers? You know, we're getting
Yeah.
the band back together. You know, we're on a mission from God. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. This is
Send me
that.
out. It's that time of night.
Everybody starts
All right.
dropping out.
I know, right? All right, fellas. If you guys know anything, have anything else, I'm thinking we're gonna end it on that high note that no team wants to see us, especially if we
No
get that
team
number one
wants to
seed.
see it.
Like
I
John
know it's
Cena
a-
says, you
That's
can't
right.
see
Can't
me.
see me.
That's so bad. I'm so sorry.
I know. On the John Cena reference. Hey, I want to thank everybody in the chat for coming in, popping in, and watching. Everybody who's watching this on replay, thank you so much. Once again, this is the Niners Coast to Coast crew. We rotate. We do this every week. Next week, whose channel are we on? Is it Aaron's? Okay, that's what I was thinking. But 9 times out of 10, I'm wrong.
We're
And,
old.
you know.
We're old, Ty. Me and you are pushing up daisies right now.
Exactly.
Wait a minute. No,
So-
no, you're only like 21. I don't even know what I'm talking about.
That's right.
Yeah,
I'm
what
still
am I
in my
talking about?
prime.
Look at this dude,
What you talking about?
bustled out
So,
and everything.
I'll
Exactly.
be 47 soon, folks. Soon.
That's
Oh,
right.
yeah, that's right.
We're
You're
going to
old,
party.
Sorry.
But yeah, everybody, subscribe to Bryant's channel, subscribe to David's channel, subscribe to Aaron's channel. Great guys doing great content. And everyone, have a good night. David, take us home.
Go Niners. And as Corey Davis would say, F all 31 other teams.
That's right.
Have a good night, everybody.